We are outdoors again, so I apologize for any sort of noise that you're hearing. The curry smell inside the house. Yo, I love me some curry, but you see the smell? That thing just stick onto you like glue. Curry corn. We originally did this recipe many years ago, and to date, it is the most viewed curry corn recipe on YouTube. And to be honest with you, when I look at the other recipes, I can see how many people kind of copy or duplicate or fudge the recipe. My heat is a little bit too high. I'm going to turn down my heat slightly. I have 2 tablespoons of olive oil in there. That's a light olive oil. I've got onion. That was a medium, half of a medium onion that I diced up. And I've got a whack. You guys know I love my garlic. So that's 7 cloves of garlic that I gave a rough chop to. That recipe, the original curry corn recipe, we did the corn. What we did, I believe we grilled it first, and then we made the curry with it. But this one you'll see some differences because we are using the kernels of the corn, and these are the kernels here. This is 6 large sweet corn, yeah, and I used my knife and I took it off the cob. Sweet corn. So if you're using the local corn in the Caribbean, which tends to be a bit more tough, you will have to adjust the cook time. It's been about 2 minutes. Got some lovely color on the onion and garlic. Gonna go in with some Caribbean green seasoning. And Caribbean green seasoning, you can find a recipe, an updated recipe on CaribbeanPot.com. It is basically a blend or a puree of all the herbs we like using in the Caribbean, and along with the herbs we also add garlic, seasoning peppers, all kind of lovely notes in there. Yeah, I'm just gonna give that another minute. I'm gonna add my favorite curry powder. You should have your own by now. If you don't have it and you would like to see me make a recipe showing you how to make your own distinct, and I mean to say you can tailor it after I give you the basics of it. If you'd like to see me do a recipe making a curry powder from scratch, drop me a comment down below. I'm just going to turn my heat down just a little bit. I don't want to burn the curry. It's one of my pet peeves is that burnt curry. I don't like it at all. Here's where I'm going to add some water. I'm going to move that around. So I want to cook out the rawness of the curry. We're trying to create a rich sort of base, and later on when we start personalizing it, that's when it comes into play, that base. I'm gonna go in with 1 medium tomato, and I'm diced up. What I must mention is that tomato has been peeled. I don't like the skin in here because it becomes a choking hazard after. Yeah, some tomato skin just don't break down at all. At this point, I also like some heat, so I'm going to go in with 1 Scotch bonnet pepper. That's a green one, so the flavor isn't the most hottest or most spicy, but it gives it a wonderful flavor. If you don't like it hot, if you don't like it spicy, you don't have to. If all you have is habanero or jalapeno, whatever pepper you have, maybe you want Trinidad Moruga Scorpion, maybe you're brave like that, you're big and bold, hey. At this point, I'm going to go in with some sea salt. Later on we can adjust that salt. We're going to hit it with some fresh ground black pepper. And the other ingredient I have here is some jeera, some roasted jeera, which is roasted cumin, which has been ground. Toss that in there. Nice big bold flavors going in here. We've got a little bit trying to escape the wrath of the pot. So we're going to toss that in there. Hit that a stir, and you notice it's starting to thicken up. Now what I meant by later on, by creating this base here, later on you have 2 options. One, you can leave it with gravy, and by putting that tomato and the onion and the garlic that we diced up in there, not only does it add flavor and the balance from the acid from the tomato, it also will help you develop a nice rich gravy. The other sort of personalization you can do is, yeah, you can do it with gravy to eat with your roti or your rice or whatever, or you can cook it down dry. That is totally up to you. But by this technique here that I shared with you, you are well equipped to have it either way. I'm gonna burn off all that water, starting to cook down nicely. And earlier when I mentioned about my original curry corn recipe being the most viewed on YouTube and being plagiarized, listen, I'm not trying to for fame or fortune. There's no fortune. I'm not trying for fame or any cause drama or anything like that. It's just that I find that as Caribbean people, we, and I'll say we because maybe sometimes I'm guilty of it as well, we have a problem giving credit where credit is due. We will just wholesale take something, add one ingredient or something to it, and own it. Such is life, I guess. As that water burns off there, see, becoming nice and thick. The lighting out here is causing the curry to look dark, really dark. In reality, it isn't, but it's just the natural light out here doing that. What I wanted to mention is you saw me put the Scotch bonnet pepper in there, large pieces. I just cut it in half and put it in there. The reason for that is later on when someone is eating it, while it will make the entire dish spicy, eating it on its own there will give you an extra kick. So later on you can easily identify where that Scotch bonnet pepper lives, you know what I mean? Starting to see the oil that we started off with on the top, and once you move your, well in my case a little spatula, once you have that separation there, time to move on. We're gonna add the corn kernels to the pot now. Just gonna go ahead and scrape down all of that corn kernels in there. Mr. Bowl can go over there, and what we want to do now is give that a stir just to coat the corn with that lovely curry base that we created there. I turn my heat back up to medium high, and at this point to cook out the corn. Sweet corn does not take long to cook, so but I'm still gonna hit it with some water. That is 2 cups of water. I'm gonna bring that up to a boil, and then we're gonna allow it to go on a steady, vigorous bubble. Yeah? The stem of the pepper. Hold on. Why it is I include that in there, boy? Rubbish. Come out. Things happening nicely. The backyard smelling good. The neighbors peeping over the fence. All kind of thing like that. And I know you are wondering, Chris, may I use or can I use coconut milk? Most certainly you can. But the reason I don't like adding coconut milk or coconut cream or anything to this dish, that coconut is going to bring a sweetness. The corn already has, it's sweet corn, man. It's called sweet corn for a reason, you understand? So, yeah, you can add the coconut milk, but may I recommend you don't. And that is why I added that Scotch bonnet pepper in there. That is why I added, and you notice the color of it's a bit dark. It's a bit dark curry. That is because I added quite a bit of that roasted jeera. It's been going for 6 minutes after we added the water there. At this point, taste it for salt, adjust that salt. If you want it a bit more spicy, you can add more pepper. It's totally up to you. What I like doing here the last few minutes, because I want it, and this is the sort of personalization you will do, whether you want it more dry or if you want it with that sort of gravy or the sauce that's there. This is going to thicken up with the residual heat on this cast iron pan. So this is good to my liking, keeping in mind that it will thicken. So I'm going to go in chives, not shadow benny, not cilantro, chives. Lately I have no appreciation at all for either of those two. Sup soldiers, listen, if you enjoy this recipe, I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and click that bell notification thing. If you've made the recipe, take a picture and send it to me, email address down here. I mean, trying to tell people the email address, them butts will take the address and do all kind of thing with it. And tag me on Instagram at Caribbean Pod. I really appreciate you guys, and thanks for being in my kitchen with me today. Irie? There is something about that cilantro, and shadow benny is doing it to me as well too lately. The flavor of it is just funky, man, and you all know I am a huge fan of both of those things in finishing off my curry. Chris here, CaribbeanPod.com, an updated or a different version of curry corn, sweet corn. We just elevated the game there. Irie? Turn off the stove. Yeah, up to you. Personalize it. Irene. What's up, soldiers? Don't forget to click subscribe. If you've already clicked subscribe, hit that bell notification thing. I want to all you missing out on the new videos, man. Come on, click.